as our solo artist, Umair Ahrar, and in a play called Shakespeare'S Sons, written and directed by me. I'm Jill Navarre. I am the director of the Auroville Theatre Group, and thank you all very much for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Good evening, students. Glad you are here. Glad I am here. Glad we are all here at this time and can go back and forth in time. So let's imagine. Today we continue our journey of what it meant to be part of Shakespeare's world, living a life in the suburb of Stratford-upon-Avon and traveling to the big city, London, and selling gloves. What you say? Selling gloves? That was the family business, and you know, son was helping out with the family business like all you boys do, or will do, or no, you say not me. Have you told your father yet? Fathers and sons. What does it mean in this modern world? Likely? Disappointment? My son never listens to me. My father, he doesn't understand me. Or frustration. Why can't you remember a simple thing? Why doesn't he have time to talk to me? Sadness mixed with nostalgia about time lost, time never to be regained. I remember when he took his first steps. My dad, he used to pick me up and all well down. He taught me how to ride a bicycle, how to swim, how to drive a car. Now, sadness heaped upon sadness, disappointment upon disappointment, all because inevitably there are expectations, desires, dreams. Someday, when he's older, someday when he's grown up, someday when he's a man. Look, I'm all grown up now. Can I have the keys to the car? Where are you going? Out. When will you be home? Later. It's okay. Don't wait up. Silence, incomprehension, exclusion. Mom lets me have a drink. It's only a beer, Dad. What is this 500 rupees? What am I going to do with this 500 rupees? That's nothing, Dad. Well, in my day, this is not your day, Dad. This is my day where things cost more. And oh, what the hell? Watch your mouth, young man. I won't be spoken to that way. I am your father and... Of course, it's not always like that. There is some joy in it also. At the football game, cheering for a touchdown. Yeah! Receiving praise for a job well done. Teacher's praise. And also, the way girls look at you. Smiling at you. Admiring you. Well, they used to look at me that way. So, why not my son? My son, my boy. Honest, bright, sincere, well-mannered. That's his mother's story. Yes, our son. Was it always like that? In Shakespeare's day, in Shakespeare's plays, when we encounter this eternal relationship, this tale of rivalry, these stories, these concerns, Hamlet, King Lear, Romeo and Juliet, disappointment, frustration, expectations, lots of expectations like now, to be successful, to be helpful, to be a mirror into which when I look, I can see myself. So, grow fast, grow smart, well educated. Isn't that what I'm paying for? And then, step into my shoes. Well, not right now. Maybe one day. Meanwhile, me. I will. My hour is almost come when I to surface and tormenting flames must render up myself. Alas, poor ghost. Alas, indeed, and more to follow. Missing you, Judge. Wanting to say those things that we never said to each other. And now you're gone. It's too late. And I wish you and I could have. Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. And then comes the whole story. How he was murdered, by whom, what he wants Hamlet to do about it. The dutiful son will avenge the death of his father, and the father finds full comfort in revenge. But what if this conversation had been about? I came back as fast as I could, Judge. I arrived. Alas, it was too late. Too late to even lay you in the ground. Cover your royal body with my tears. To hold my mother's hand. To throw cold earth over the hasty coffin. List, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love, oh God! Yes. That's what I want to tell you. Like I admired you so much. I love to watch you on horseback, your hair streaming behind you, wielding sword and shield most valiantly. Woo! But you know, I was never very good at the rough and tumble. So you sent me off to school, to Wittenberg, to do what? To get rid of me, so you wouldn't be reminded about my faults, about how much I was not like you. Love. Where is the love, Dad? Love is a two-way street. Yeah? Yeah. So sons get angry at their fathers. So sons blame themselves for not being the kind of guy their father was. Swear! Rest. Rest, perturbed spirit. And let me rest too. In the end, word by the events, yet unforeseen, which will lead me to my death, in pursuit of what? Of your revenge? Death. Death. Death is the aim. Death is the goal. Death seems to be the perfect ending of many Shakespeare's plays. Hamlet, King Lear, Romeo and Juliet. The stage littered with corpses. Why is that? The tragedies, the inevitable ending with lessons learned, truths revealed. I mean, if the purpose of a play is to reveal what was concealed in order that audience may learn something from all these sufferings, all these killings, I would say senseless killing? Senseless, especially when the victims die young. I mean, what is the sense of two young people, very much in love, dying because sin from my lips? Oh, trespass, sweetly urged, give me my sin again. Is it a sin to fall in love with someone from a rival family, a different caste, a different religion? Shall I speak ill of him that is my husband? Forced to separate, torn apart by a society that doesn't recognize the legitimacy of their wedding vows. Or thinkst thou we shall ever meet again? I doubt it not. And all these woes shall serve for sweet discourses in our times to come. Alas, it is not to be. They never meet again, except in death. And Romeo, proving not to be a very obedient son, disregarding the wishes of his parents, warnings of his friends, staying out to all hours, where the devil should this Romeo be? Came he not home tonight? Not to his fathers. I spoke with this man. And why is it so hard for these two families to reconcile?
But Montague is bound as well as I in penal life. And 'tis not hard, I think, for men so old as we to keep the peace.
And yet, these old men are bewildered by their sons. They are not ready to understand the pain of youth, the struggles, the sudden inexplicable moods.
Many a morning had there been seen with tears of melting fresh morning dew, adding clouds to more clouds, to this deep silence. Morning light steals home my heavy sun, and private in his chamber, hence himself.
Boy, brooding. Father, baffled. Familiar scenario. No? How many parents have tried in vain to discover the hidden cause of your son's seclusion? His silence at the dinner table, his late night stay outs, and if you pursue the reason, but did Father Montague ever confront his son directly?
What's wrong, boy? What's happening?
No, probably not. He asked his friends, like in Hamlet also, and Hamlet's friends, and his friends, and they have their own stories. Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, Benvolio, and Mercutio. Oh, Father Montague, why were you so afraid to talk directly to Romeo? Were you afraid to confront yourself? Such a seeming awkward relationship, father and son, like ships that pass in the night. Shakespeare had a son. His name was Hamnet. He was the only son of William Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway, the fraternal twin of Judith Shakespeare, dead at the age of 11. Little is known about Hamlet. By the time Hamlet was 4, his father was already a London playwright. Quoting the Wikipedia, as his popularity grew, he was probably not regularly at home in Stratford-upon-Avon. It's guessed that he died of bubonic plague. At that time in England, about a third of all children dead before age 10. Silence, incomprehension, exclusion, death, or else revenge. Parents, Earl of Gloucester. Sons, Edgar and Edmund. Edgar, the legitimate, Edmund, the illegitimate. Edmund is the main antagonist in William Shakespeare's King Lear. Edmund, the bastard. Crimes, treason, attempted murder. false incrimination, skills, manipulation, intelligence. Edmund manipulates his father, Earl of Gloucester, and his brother, Edward, who were born in wedlock against one another. Let me. Not by birth, have lands by wit. All with me is meet, that I can fashion fit. Here we have the manipulation of affection, the impure actions of a scheming mind, the very opposite of Romeo, for instance, who went straight away falling in love, hies it over to Friar Lawrence's to legitimize his relationship. Edmund, the illegitimate, seeks to delegitimize, to disdain the love of brother and father, feeling himself disdained and disinherited since birth. Edmund is the ultimate cause of Gloucester's downfall, and only Edward seeks to save this old man. When blinded, he maneuvers him to the invented edge of a cliff, telling him that they are going up steep ground and that they can hear the sea. Why I do trifle thus with his despair, stunned to cure it? Edmund trifles with the affections of Gonrill and Rhaegar, two sisters, daughters of the king. Shows remorse only at death's doorway, when in a sword fight, he was felled by brother Edward, who accuses him, despite thy victor's sword and fiery fortune, my well-lord and thy heart, thou art a traitor, false to the gods, thy brother, thy father, a most troll-disported traitor! Two sons in King Lear. What's going on there? One could wonder what was William Shakespeare's relationship with his own father. John Shakespeare was an English businessman. He was married to Mary Shakespeare and had 4 sons and 4 daughters. William was the eldest, and when he was born, they were already living on Henley Street of Stratford upon Avon in Warwickshire. Fun fact, Edmund was the youngest and became an actor in London. He died on 1607 and buried in Southwark Cathedral. It is thought that it was William Shakespeare who paid for his brother's burial and for the great bell to be rung in his memory. Says Shakespeare.org.uk. Not to mention having an unforgettably wild character named after him. So, respectable middle-class parents living in the market town of Stratford upon Avon The boys had a grammar school education where they learned mathematics, Latin, Greek, classical history, and law. By 1580, the family had fallen on hard times mortgaging his wife's estate to pay the creditors. Yet, in 1596, the family was granted a coat of arms. It is thought that it was the influence of William Shakespeare that brought that about. Dutiful son, eldest son. So, a tradesman, a farmer, in fact, owner of land, an illegal broker, wool dealer, who was taken to court for violating the usury laws that prohibits charging higher interest than the legal limit of 10%. The wiki tells us one Thomas Crew records a statement with Sir John Melvins, who met him in his shop and described him as
many-cheeked old man.
who said of his son that Will was a good honest fellow, but he just have cracked a jest with him at any time. Awkward relationship. No. Parents were illiterate. That's right. Use signs for signatures. Son is a poet, playwright, actor, lover of words, and a wool dealer. Yes. It seems it was wool, not the theatre, that prompted William Shakespeare to leave Stratford-upon-Avon for London in 1585, where he could act as a family's business representative. So, what are the lessons learned? Passed on from the father to son? Something about ethics, about laws, about commerce, about business, about trade, and don't take yourself so seriously. If we could turn back time, get a little peek into the conversation between John Shakespeare and William Shakespeare, what would it be? I know the family business not for you. The humdrum hobnobbing with pallid fools who cannot make a rhyme to save their lives. Wait a minute. Do you think John Shakespeare talked in iambic pentameter? No, probably not. More plain spoken. Do you think? Anyone in the audience want to take a stab at it? What would the conversation sound like? Anyone? Come. Anyone want to volunteer? Sir, please. Okay. So you are William Shakespeare And sir, you are John Shakespeare. You have your own family business and you want to write poetry. You want to be a writer. Now, you have to convince him that he should join family business. Okay? And you have to convince your father that why you want to be a writer. Your time starts now.
My son, look at the business I've built. And it's honorable for you to take after me and become a businessman like me and take the family's business.
But I don't like doing that. I don't like the numbers. I don't like the act of selling. I want to write. I want to create. I want to write poetry. I have stories in my mind. And this is what I have decided to do, Papa.
But stories don't pay rent, my son. You need to eat. You'll die writing stories.
People will come. People will come to see. And somehow I will make money.
Somehow is how. Here I have a tangible way. You sell, you make money. Who buys writings?
There is first to everything, no? Have you read my poetry?
No, fortunately.
I think you will have a second opinion. I want to write what the humanity goes through. I want to write what two lovers would say to each other in private. And these are the things that people want to watch, I believe.
Have you ever thought what a father thinks?
The father would want the son to be happy, right?
Yes.
So this is my path to happiness.
And I provide the way for wealth. Happiness follows. Okay, my son. I'll have it your way, but for a short time, 2 years. What do you say?
Okay, I'll thank you for that. I'll prove you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please give him a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gloves were in high demand in Tudor England for practical uses as well as the markers of status for the elite. The government protected the trade from foreign competition. John was also a wheathauer who made his own leather from the skins of deer, horses, goats, sheep, hounds. The skin would have been tanned in pits outside of the property and mixed with an unpleasant substance such as urine. Shit! William Shakespeare shows some familiarity with this craft in his plays. For example, referencing to a glover's paring knife in The Merry Wives of Windsor. When John died in 1601, 37-year-old William Shakespeare inherited the entire property. Already living in a sizable new place, William followed in his father's money-making footsteps. He leased out part of the house to Louis Hickox, who later extended it as an inn. Cheers! The inn was only closed in 1846, after which the entire property was purchased by Shakespeare Birthplace Trust. Of father and son, Lord John Talbot and young John Talbot, that anticipate uncanny details Shakespeare accomplished in handling of the relationship. As in plays to come, The father is an imposing figure past his prime and becoming increasingly vulnerable, while the son is coming of age and hoping to prove himself. Although the two John Talbots espouse the same commitment to family honors, as they are soon engaged in a mutual conflict, as Lord John attempts to impose his will and young John resists. Look at jester.org if you don't believe. Later, in the following plays, depictions of fathers and sons continue to appear, with 4 examples in Macbeth and 3 in The Winter's Tale. Shakespeare communicates to the audience that a father-son bond is unbreakable. A father would do anything for his son, while the son would do his best to continue his father's days. It is also significant that Macbeth does not have a son, for he does not go through the experiences of being a father. Indeed, Lady Macbeth seems to yearn for motherhood. At the same time, she would destroy the very child she nursed, if necessary. Whereas Banquo and his son Fleance. Banquo receives a prophecy from the witches. Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. And at his death, Banquo sacrifices his life for his son Fleance, which is the ultimate demonstration of a father's love. Fly! Fly, good Fleance! Fly! Thou mayest revenge! Oh, slave! We know that Fleance is clearly influenced by revenging his father's death, as he eventually becomes king. Another revenge story here. This time, one with no hesitation. And in A Winter's Tale. The Winter's Tale stages a way for fathers and sons to accept the passing of time and to alleviate their rivalry by seeing in the succession of generations, succession of selves comprising their own story. Often, in The Winter's Tale, we see or hear the problems between the generations. Youth and age have different views of what constitutes correct behavior. The first words we hear from the old shepherd remind us of this. I bore, there were no age between 10 and 3 and 20. Or that youth would sleep out the rest. For there is nothing in between but getting ventures with child, wronging the uncertainty, stealing, fighting, here. Have you now? Would any but these bold brains of 19, 2, and 20 hunt this weather? In the sheep-shearing scene, the disguised Polixenes challenges his son's decision to marry without his father's permission. No son, he indicates, should contemplate such an act of filial disobedience unless his father were senile. Methinks a father is at the nuptial of his son, a guest. That best becomes the table. Pray you once more, is that your father not grown incapable of reasonable affairs? Reason my son should choose himself a wife, but as good reason the father, all whose joy is nothing else but fair posterity, should hold some counsel in such a business. Nevertheless, Florizel feels that he has the right to choose for himself. Personal desires are stronger motives than a son's duty to his father. Even as his jealousy growing, Leonardo speaks affectionately about and to his boy. How sometimes nature will betray its folly, its tenderness, and make itself pastime harder bosoms. Looking at the lines of my boy's face, methoughts I did recall my 23 years and saw myself unbreeched in my green velvet coat. How like methought I then was to this colonel, this coarse, this gentleman. Mine honest friend, will you take eggs for money? Let me digress or go back to the sources to find the keys to the kingdom and how they were handed on. For commedia characters are generally referred to as masks or roles. These are stock characters that have been passed on from generation to generation and usually from parent to child. The characteristics of these roles are timeless and can be found in any community, making them the cornerstones of many situation comedies today. The cuckolded husband, the miserly father, saucy maid, and hopeful lovers are the stereotypes found in any community. These masks took many years to master, and each physical trait was expected to be upheld from performer to performer. So writes Jennifer Hart in Alphazia di Innamorati, a commedia dell'arte dissertation for the University of Central Florida. Il Nature was originally a carnival figure, usually a bachelor or widower, and the father to one of the lovers. He wore black academic dress. Think of Polonius, father of Laertes and Ophelia in Hamlet, Amoroso or Amorosa, the son or daughter, were always in throes of love, trying to get together, despite the obstacles presented by the ever-present father. We know that fathers have sometimes been given a bad rap. We try to make it up to them on Father's Day. Witness some of these sentimental sayings. He knew his child was his warrant. He said, if he is not the word of God, God never spoke. From Cormac McCarthy, The Road. Or, he promised us that everything would be okay. I was a child, but I knew that everything would not be okay. That did not make my father a liar. It made him my father. Jonathan Safran Foer, extremely loud and incredibly close. Also, this Yiddish proverb, when a father gives to his son, both laugh. When a son gives to his father, both cry. Or is that Shakespeare? This happy thing to be the father unto many sons, says Shakespeare in Henry VI, Part 3. Wishful thinking, we suppose, on Shakespeare's part, as he has only one son who died at the age of 11. Yet in King Lear, the most gullible character, Earl of Gloucester, has two sons, Edgar and Edmund. The subplot concerns the Earl, who gullibly believes the lies of his conniving illegitimate son and spurns his honest son Edgar. Exiled, disguised as a mad beggar, Edgar becomes the companion of the truly mad Lear and the fool during a terrible storm. Edmund allies himself with Cornwall and Regan to defend Britain against the French army mobilized at Virginia. He turns his father over to Gloucester's brutal husband, Duke of Cornwall, who gouges out Gloucester's eyes. Ah! Yes, his son, his own son does this, and then imprisons Cordelia and Lear. But he is defeated in chivalric combat by Edgar. Jealous of Edmund's romantic attentions to Regan, Cornwall poisons her and commits suicide. Oh! Cordelia is hanged on the orders of Edmund, which he experiences a change of heart once he is defeated and fatally wounded by brother Edgar. Revenge is sweet, but is too late in his attempt to reverse the death order. The Duke of Albany, Cornwall's well-meaning husband, seeks to remedy injustice in the king. But seems at last that events has overwhelmed his good intentions. Lear, broken, dies with Cordelia's body in his arms. Good, legitimate son, misunderstood. Lying, illegitimate son, trusted, until his father learns, too late, who has betrayed him. So, in this game of aging and succession, the father must yield to his son, willingly or unwillingly, with hardship or bitterness, or happily and with grace. And so perhaps, the most tellingly in Hamlet, the good king visiting his boy exacts his revenge through his son, citing duty and responsibility, and sadly sending him to his death. But who can resist? Pray without me. Speak! I have no other.
doomed for certain drum to walk the night, and for the day confined fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burned and burst away. That I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy true eyes like stars to start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair stand on end like quills upon the fretful Turpentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love, oh God, revenge is foul and most unnatural murder. Murder most foul, as in the best it is. But this most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I, with wings as swift as meditation or thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge. And as the ghost recounts the horrors of his death and betrayal, Hamlet vows. And shall I couple hell? Oh, fie! Hold my heart and you my sinews. Grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee, thy poor ghost, while memory also sit in the deserted globe. Remember thee. Yeah, from the table of my memory, I'll wipe away all trivial phone records, all source of books, all precious past that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment, all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes! By heaven! Hamlet pledges his love and fealty to his father, and so unfolds the greatest love story of son for father in all of Shakespeare. A love so fierce, a duty so adhered to, that it inevitably leads to death. And what of Hamlet's death? Shakespeare's only son died at the age of 11, appeared in lines from King John, where Constance, a grieving mother, says, grief fills the room up of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty smile, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts. Stuffs out stricken garments with his fork. persistence of memory for Shakespeare leads to great suffering and even greater release from suffering. In words, in plays, in poetry, which after all are immortal. The play is a tribute to the genius of Shakespeare and his father and all of our fathers. I request you to please stand up if you are missing your father tonight and say his name.
Hamlet!
Agni. Ahrar.